backslash. The vast expanse of the Milky Way buzzed with life. Advanced civilizations traded, fought, and explored. But in this grand cosmic dance, one species found itself left out in the cold. The Zilfians, with their small, frail bodies and oversized heads, were seen as nothing more than a galactic joke. On their home planet, Zilf, the last remnants of their once thriving civilization, huddled in underground cities. The surface, once lush and green, now lay barren and scorched. It was the result of countless attacks from other, more aggressive species who saw the Zilfians as easy targets. Gax, a young Zilfian scientist, peered through a periscope at the desolate landscape above. His large violet eyes blinked rapidly as he processed the grim sight. Another day, another raid, he muttered to himself. Behind him, the last city of the Zilfians buzzed with activity. Despite their dire situation, they refused to give up. Their delicate fingers worked tirelessly on complex machines, their oversized brains constantly seeking solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable. Gax, a voice called out. It was Zira, his research partner. The council wants to see us. They say it's urgent. Gax nodded, his antenna twitching with anxiety. The pair made their way through the winding tunnels of the underground city. All around them, fellow Zilfians went about their daily lives. Children studied in makeshift schools, while adults worked on various projects aimed at improving their dire situation. The council chamber was a large cavern, lit by bioluminescent fungi that cast an eerie blue glow. The 5 eldest and wisest Zilfians sat in a semicircle, their faces grave. Gax Zira, the head counselor, spoke, her voice soft but firm. Our long-range sensors have detected a new ship entering our system. It's unlike anything we've seen before. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. New ships usually meant one thing: more attackers, more destruction. But, the counselor continued, raising a hand for silence, this ship's energy signature is different. It doesn't match any known aggressive species. Gax felt a flutter of hope in his chest. Could it be? After centuries of isolation and attacks, could they have finally found a potential ally? We need you two to make contact, the counselor said. Your linguistic skills and scientific knowledge make you the best candidates. But be careful. We cannot afford another betrayal. Gax and Zira exchanged glances. They knew the risks. The last time the Zilfians had tried to make contact with a new species, it had ended in disaster. Half their remaining population had been wiped out in the ensuing attack. We understand, Gax said, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. When do we leave? Immediately, the counselor replied. We've prepared a small stealth ship. Remember, the fate of our entire species may rest on this mission. As Gax and Zira left the council chamber, the gravity of their mission weighed heavily on them. They made their way to the launch bay, where a sleek, dark vessel awaited them. It was barely large enough for 2 Zilfians, designed for speed and stealth rather than comfort. As they prepared for launch, Zira turned to Gax. Do you think this time will be different? She asked, her antenna drooping slightly. Gax paused, considering his words carefully. I don't know, he admitted, but we have to try. For all of us. The launch bay doors opened, revealing the barren surface of Zilf. With a quiet hum, their ship rose and shot into the sky, quickly breaking through the planet's atmosphere. As the blackness of space enveloped them, Gax and Zira saw it, a large, oddly shaped vessel unlike anything they'd ever seen. Its hull gleamed in the light of Zilf's sun, and strange markings adorned its side. Look, Zira whispered, pointing at a symbol on the ship's hull. It showed a blue and green sphere, with strange bipedal creatures standing before it. Gax leaned forward, his eyes wide with wonder and apprehension. Well, he said, his voice barely audible, let's go meet our potential saviors, or destroyers. As their tiny ship approached the massive vessel, Gax and Zira couldn't help but feel a mix of hope and fear. Little did they know, This encounter would change not just their lives, but the fate of their entire species, and perhaps the galaxy itself. As Gax and Zira's tiny ship drew closer to the massive human vessel, their hearts raced with a mix of fear and excitement. The sleek, metallic hull of the human ship dwarfed their own craft, making them feel even smaller than usual. "Should we try to communicate?" Zira asked, her delicate fingers hovering over the communication panel. Gax nodded, his oversized head bobbing slightly. "Yes, but let's be cautious. We don't know how they'll react to us." With trembling hands, Zira activated the universal translator they had developed. It was their best hope for understanding these strange new beings. "Greetings, unknown vessel," Gax spoke into the microphone. "We come in peace. We are Zilfians, seeking friendship and assistance." For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a crackle of static, followed by a deep, unfamiliar voice. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We receive you, Zilfian craft. Please state your intentions." Gax and Zira exchanged surprised looks. The translator had worked perfectly, and the human's response seemed friendly. We seek help," Gax replied, his voice gaining strength. "Our species is on the brink of extinction. We've been attacked and cast aside by other galactic civilizations. We hoped you might be different." There was a pause, then Captain Chen's voice returned, softer this time. "We understand. Please, dock with our ship. We'd like to meet you face to face." As their small craft maneuvered towards the docking bay, Zira couldn't contain her excitement. "Gax, do you realize what this means? They're actually willing to talk to us." Gax nodded, but his expression remained cautious. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Zira. We've been betrayed before." The docking procedure was smooth, guided by the humans' advanced technology. As the airlock hissed open, Gax and Zira took deep breaths, preparing themselves for whatever lay ahead. They stepped out into a brightly lit corridor. And there, waiting for them, were the humans. Gax and Zira couldn't help but stare. The humans were tall, at least by Zilfian standards, with only 2 arms and 2 legs. Their skin came in various shades, and they had hair on their heads in different colors and styles. But what struck the Zilfians most were their eyes, filled with curiosity and warmth, not the disgust or aggression they were used to seeing from other species. Captain Chen stepped forward, a smile on her face. "Welcome aboard the Horizon," she said, her voice matching the one they had heard over the comms. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen. On behalf of humanity, we're pleased to meet you." Gax, overcoming his initial shock, bowed slightly. "I am Gax, and this is Zira. We thank you for your welcome. It's been a long time since anyone has treated us with kindness." The humans exchanged concerned glances. A tall man with dark skin and kind eyes spoke up. "I'm Dr. Kwesi Okoro, the ship's xenobiologist. If you don't mind, could you tell us more about your situation?" Over the next hour, in a comfortable meeting room, Gax and Zira shared the tragic history of the Zilfians. They told of their once peaceful civilization, their advancements in science and arts, and how they had been systematically attacked and marginalized by other, more aggressive species who saw their physical weakness as a justification for exploitation. The humans listened intently, their expressions growing more concerned and sympathetic with each passing minute. When Gax and Zira finished their tale, there was a moment of heavy silence. Then, Captain Chen leaned forward, her eyes shining with determination. "This injustice cannot stand," she said firmly. "The Zilfians have suffered enough. Earth may be new to the galactic stage, but we will not stand by while an entire species faces extinction." Dr. Okoro nodded in agreement. "Your physical attributes may be different from ours, but that's no reason for the treatment you've endured. In fact, I suspect your enlarged craniums might indicate advanced cognitive abilities. Have you ever been tested for telepathic or psychic potential?" Gax and Zira exchanged surprised looks. "And no," Zira stammered. "We've always been too focused on mere survival to explore such possibilities." Captain Chen smiled warmly. "Well, that's about to change. We'd like to extend an invitation to your people. Earth would be honored to offer the Zilfians sanctuary and a chance to rebuild." For the first time in generations, hope blossomed in the hearts of the two Zilfians. As they looked at the kind, determined faces of the humans around them, Gax and Zira realized that perhaps, just perhaps, their long nightmare was finally coming to an end. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of an extraordinary partnership that would reshape the galaxy. The journey to Earth was filled with a mix of excitement and anxiety for the Zilfians. After Gax and Zira's successful first contact, they had returned to their home planet with the good news. The entire Zilfian population, a mere 10,000 individuals, had agreed to accept Earth's offer of sanctuary. Now, as their fleet of small ships approached the blue-green planet, escorted by several human vessels, Gax couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. Earth was so different from their barren homeworld, vibrant, alive, and teeming with water, a resource that had become scarce on Zilf. "It's beautiful," Zira whispered, her large eyes reflecting the planet's glow. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, following the guidance of their human escorts, the Zilfians got their first close-up view of human civilization. Sprawling cities, vast green forests, and huge bodies of water passed beneath them. It was overwhelming, yet exciting. Their ships touched down in a large open area that the humans called New Hope Landing Zone. It was located in a region humans referred to as Australia, chosen for its vast, unpopulated areas that could accommodate the Zilfian refugees. As the Zilfians disembarked, they were greeted by a crowd of humans. Some were officials in formal attire, others were scientists in white coats, and many were ordinary citizens who had come to welcome their new galactic neighbors. At the forefront stood Captain Chen and Dr. Okoro, familiar faces that brought comfort to the nervous Zilfians. Beside them was a tall, distinguished-looking human with silver hair. "Welcome to Earth," the silver-haired man said, his voice amplified for all to hear. "I am Secretary General Rodrigo Diaz of the United Earth Government. On behalf of humanity, we extend our hands in friendship and offer you sanctuary." Gax, chosen as the spokesperson for his people, stepped forward. His small frame looked almost comical next to the towering humans, but his voice was strong and clear. "People of Earth, we thank you for your generosity. The Zilfians have long dreamed of finding allies in this harsh galaxy. Your kindness gives us hope for a brighter future." As Gax spoke, something strange began to happen. Several humans in the crowd started to look around in confusion, touching their heads as if they heard something. Dr. Okoro's eyes widened. He quickly stepped forward and whispered something to Secretary General Diaz, who nodded and addressed the crowd. "Remain calm, everyone. It seems our friends have some unexpected abilities we're just discovering. Dr. Okoro, would you care to explain?" The xenobiologist stepped forward, excitement clear on his face. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're witnessing something extraordinary. It appears that under the stress and emotion of this moment, our Zilfian friends are inadvertently broadcasting their thoughts and feelings telepathically." A murmur went through the crowd, both human and Zilfian. The Zilfians looked at each other in shock, unaware they possessed such abilities. Gax, stunned by this revelation, tried to focus his thoughts. To his amazement, he found he could sense the minds around him. The wonder and curiosity of the humans, the fear and hope of his fellow Zilfians. This is incredible," Gax said, his voice shaky. "We had no idea we were capable of this." Dr. Okoro approached Gax, his face beaming with excitement. "This confirms my theory about your advanced cognitive abilities. Your species has likely developed these skills as a survival mechanism, but they've remained dormant until now. The emotional impact of finding sanctuary must have triggered them." As the implications of this discovery sank in, Both humans and Zilphians began to see each other in a new light. The humans were fascinated by the potential of Zilphian telepathy, while the Zilphians were overwhelmed by the acceptance and excitement they felt from the humans. Secretary General Dias raised his hands, calling for attention. This unexpected development only reinforces our decision to offer sanctuary to the Zilphians. We see this not as a challenge, but as an opportunity for both our species to grow and learn from each other. He turned to Gax and the Zilphians. We will provide you with the resources and support you need to settle here and explore your newfound abilities. In return, we hope you'll share your knowledge and unique perspectives with us. Together, we can build a future that neither of our species could have imagined alone. As the sun set on this historic day, casting a warm glow over the landing zone, humans and Zilphians began to mingle. The air was filled with a mixture of spoken words and telepathic impressions, the first steps in what promised to be an extraordinary partnership. Gax and Zira exchanged a look of hope and wonder. After years of hardship and rejection, they had finally found not just a safe haven, but a place where they could thrive and grow. The galaxy had cast them aside, but humanity had welcomed them with open arms. A new chapter in the history of both species had begun. 6 months had passed since the Zilphians' arrival on Earth. The Australian outback, once empty and quiet, now buzzed with activity. A small city, aptly named New Zilph, had sprung up, its architecture a fascinating blend of human and Zilphian design. Gax stood at the window of the research facility, watching young Zilphians play with human children in a nearby park. Their laughter, both audible and telepathic, filled the air with joy. "Remarkable, isn't it?" Dr. Okoro said, joining Gax at the window. 6 months ago, your people were on the brink of extinction. Now look at them." Gax nodded, his large eyes reflecting the sunlight. "We owe humanity so much. You've given us more than just a home. You've given us a future." Inside the lab, Zira was working with a team of human scientists. They were exploring the full extent of Zilphian telepathic abilities, which had grown stronger and more controlled over the past months. "Okay, Zira," said Dr. Emily Chen, Captain Chen's sister and a renowned neurologist. "Let's try the long-distance test again." Zira nodded and closed her eyes. Miles away, in a secure facility, a human volunteer waited. Zira focused her thoughts, projecting an image into the volunteer's mind. After a moment, Dr. Chen's tablet beeped. She grinned widely. "Perfect match." The volunteer saw exactly what you projected, a red square with a blue circle inside. The implications were staggering. Zilphians could communicate complex ideas instantly over vast distances. It was revolutionizing fields from communications to space exploration. But not everyone was thrilled about these developments. In a dimly lit room in Geneva, the United Earth Security Council was in session. Holographic displays showed the faces of leaders from around the world. "The Zilphians' abilities are growing too quickly," said one counselor, his brow furrowed with concern. "What if they can read our minds without our knowledge? They could steal our secrets, manipulate our thoughts." Secretary General Dias raised a hand for calm. "Let's not give in to fear. The Zilphians have been nothing but transparent and cooperative. They're as eager to understand their abilities as we are. Besides," added another counselor, "our scientists are working on telepathic shielding technology. We're not defenseless." Back in New Zilph, Gax was unaware of the debate his people's abilities were causing. He was focused on another project, one that combined Zilphian mental prowess with human ingenuity. In a large hangar, a sleek spacecraft stood gleaming. It was unlike anything either species had created before. Its neural interface was designed to be controlled by Zilphian telepathy, while its advanced propulsion system was the product of human engineering. "The cosmic bridge is almost ready for its first test flight," said Captain Chen, running her hand along the ship's smooth hull. "If this works, it could revolutionize space travel." Gax nodded, excitement bubbling in his chest. To think, just a year ago, we were hiding underground on a dying planet. Now we're about to reach for the stars together. As word of the Cosmic Bridge project spread, it caught the attention of the galactic community. The same alien races that had once dismissed the Zilfians now watched with growing interest and concern. On a distant planet, in a grand council chamber, representatives of various alien species gathered. The humans were unknown to us, and we ignored the Zilfians, growled a reptilian alien. Now look at what they've accomplished together in mere months. A tall, ethereal being floated forward. Perhaps we were too hasty in our judgment of both species. This alliance could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Then we must act, said another. We cannot allow them to grow stronger. We must test this alliance, see if it will break under pressure. As the galactic powers plotted, unaware of the full extent of Zilfian abilities, a young Zilfian child on Earth woke up from a troubling dream. She had seen visions of strange aliens and heard whispers of coming challenges. The child reached out telepathically, seeking comfort. In homes and research facilities across New Zilf, Zilfians stirred, sensing the child's distress and the warning in her dreams. Gax and Zira exchanged worried looks. Their newfound peace was about to be tested. But this time, they weren't alone. They had the strength, ingenuity, and friendship of humanity standing with them. As the first light of dawn broke over New Zilf, both humans and Zilfians prepared to face whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Together, the cosmic bridge hung in Earth's orbit, its sleek form glinting in the sunlight. Inside, Gax and Captain Chen sat at the neural interface controls, preparing for the ship's maiden voyage. All systems are go, Chen reported, her fingers dancing over the holographic displays. Gax, are you ready to initiate the telepathic link? Gax nodded, his large eyes focused intently on the pulsing lights of the neural interface. He placed his delicate hands on the sensor pads and closed his eyes. Suddenly, Gax's mind exploded with information. He could feel every part of the ship as if it were an extension of his own body. The sensation was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Connection established, Gax said, his voice filled with awe. It's incredible. I can sense everything. Chen grinned. Then let's make history. Take us out, Gax. With a mere thought from Gax, the cosmic bridge hummed to life. It moved with a grace that defied its size, quickly leaving Earth's orbit behind. As they approached the edge of the solar system, preparing for their first faster-than-light jump, alarms suddenly blared. Multiple unknown ships dropping out of FTL, Chen exclaimed, her hands flying over the controls. They're on an intercept course. Before Gax could respond, a massive ship appeared before them. Its design was unlike anything they had ever seen. All sharp angles and menacing protrusions. A booming voice filled the cosmic bridge's communication system. Attention human and Zilfian vessel. This is High Commander Zix of the Galactic Concord. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Chen's face hardened. This is Captain Sarah Chen of Earth. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. What is the meaning of this interference? The alien commander's tone grew colder. Your peaceful mission threatens the balance of power in this sector. The alliance between humans and Zilfians cannot be allowed to progress further. As Chen argued with the alien commander, Gax closed his eyes, reaching out with his mind. To his surprise, he found he could sense the aliens aboard the other ship. Their thoughts were guarded, but he could feel their unease and their fear. Captain, Gax whispered, they're afraid of us, of what we might become together. Chen nodded grimly. Fear often leads to aggression. We need to show them we're not a threat. Suddenly, Gax had an idea. Captain, I think I can communicate with them directly. Mind to mind. Maybe I can make them understand. Chen hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Do it. Gax took a deep breath and focused his thoughts. He projected images of peace, of cooperation, of the beauty that could arise when different species work together. He showed the aliens visions of New Zilf, of human and Zilfian children playing together, of the advances they had made in science and technology. On the alien ship, High Commander Zix stumbled, overwhelmed by the sudden influx of thoughts and emotions. His crew looked around in confusion, many of them moved to tears by the visions of harmony they were experiencing. "What? What is this?" Zix gasped. Gax's voice echoed in their minds. "This is who we are. This is what we can all become if we work together instead of against each other." For a long moment, there was silence. Then, slowly, the weapons on the alien ships powered down. High Commander Zix's voice came over the comm system again, but this time it was softer, filled with wonder. "We had no idea. We thought your alliance was a threat. But now I see. It's an opportunity. An opportunity for all of us." Chen and Gax exchanged relieved smiles. "We would be happy to discuss this further," Chen said. "Perhaps on Earth. We can show you firsthand what our peoples have accomplished together." As the cosmic bridge turned back towards Earth, escorted now by curious and hopeful alien ships, Gax felt a surge of pride and hope. They had faced their first major galactic challenge not with weapons, but with understanding and empathy. News of the encounter spread quickly. On Earth and in New Zilf, humans and Zilfians celebrated this peaceful resolution. In the following weeks, delegations from various alien races began to arrive, eager to learn more about this unique alliance. The galaxy, it seemed, was beginning to see the strength in diversity and cooperation, and at the heart of this change were the once dismissed Zilfians and their human allies, showing the way towards a brighter, more united future for all species. As Gax looked out at the stars, now filled with possibility rather than threat, he knew that their journey was just beginning. The path ahead would not be easy, but together, they were ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring. 5 years had passed since the historic encounter with the Galactic Concord. Earth had become a bustling hub of interstellar diplomacy, with New Zilf at the center of it all. The once barren Australian outback now boasted a thriving metropolis where humans, Zilfians, and various alien species lived and worked together. Gax, now serving as the Zilfian ambassador to Earth, stood before the United Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber, built to accommodate beings of all shapes and sizes, hummed with anticipation. "Esteemed representatives," Gax began, his voice calm but filled with passion. "Today marks a new chapter in our shared history. The Human Zilfian Research Institute has made a breakthrough that could change life as we know it across the galaxy." Excited murmurs filled the room. High Commander Zix, now a staunch ally, leaned forward with interest. Gax continued, "By combining Zilfian telepathic abilities with human quantum technology, we have developed a method to terraform barren planets at an unprecedented rate. What once took centuries can now be achieved in mere decades." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of excited voices and telepathic exclamations. This technology could solve resource shortages and overpopulation issues that had plagued many civilizations for millennia. But not everyone was thrilled. A reptilian delegate hissed, "This is too much power for any one alliance to hold. How can we trust that you won't use this to dominate the galaxy?" Before Gax could respond, a familiar voice rang out. "Because that's not who we are." Captain Sarah Chen, now Admiral Chen of the United Earth Fleet, stepped forward. "Our alliance was born from compassion and mutual respect. We offer this technology freely to all peaceful worlds." As debates raged in the council chamber, a different scene unfolded in a lab deep within the research institute. Zira, her face lined with age, but her eyes still bright, worked feverishly alongside a team of multi-species scientists. "The simulation is complete," announced Dr. Emily Chen, now sporting a few gray hairs of her own. "The terraforming process is stable, but—" She hesitated. Zira finished her thought, "but it requires a constant telepathic link to guide the quantum fields." She sighed. "A link so complex and draining that it could burn out a Zilfian's mind in a matter of years." The weight of this revelation hung heavy in the air. The miraculous terraforming technology came with a steep price. one that the Zilfians would have to pay. Back in the council chamber, as discussions about the technology's potential and risks continued, Gax felt a sudden, sharp pain in his head. A telepathic warning from Zira flooded his mind with the truth about the terraforming process. Gax stumbled, drawing concerned looks from the delegates. Admiral Chen rushed to his side. "What's wrong?" she whispered. In hushed tones, Gax explained the situation. Chen's face paled. "We can't ask your people to sacrifice themselves like this," she said firmly. Gax straightened, a determined look in his eyes. "My people were on the brink of extinction when humanity took us in. If our minds can bring life to dead worlds, isn't that a worthy cause?" As they debated in whispers, the council continued to argue about the implications of the new technology. The fate of countless worlds hung in the balance. Suddenly, the doors of the chamber burst open. A young Zilfian scientist, breathless and excited, rushed in. "Ambassador Gax, Admiral Chen, we've done it." The room fell silent as the young scientist explained. "We've found a way to distribute the telepathic load across multiple minds. A network of Zilfians, working in shifts, can maintain the terraforming process without risk." A wave of relief washed over Gax and Chen. The young scientist continued, "But there's more. We've discovered that other telepathic species can join the network too. This could be a truly galactic effort." The chamber erupted in cheers and applause. Species that had once dismissed the Zilfians as weak now clamored to join the telepathic network, eager to contribute to this monumental effort. As the excitement settled, Gax addressed the council once more. "This is the power of unity," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Together, we can transform not just planets, but the very fabric of our galactic society." Admiral Chen nodded, adding, "We invite all peaceful worlds to join us in this endeavor. Let us turn lifeless rocks into cradles of new civilizations, not through conquest, but through cooperation." As the council voted unanimously to support the terraforming initiative, Gax and Chen shared a proud look. The galaxy that had once cast the Zilfians aside was now united, ready to forge a future brighter than any single species could have imagined. But even as hope blossomed, a shadow loomed on the horizon. For in the vast expanse of the universe, there were forces that viewed this united galaxy not as a triumph, but as a threat. The true test of this newfound alliance was yet to come. 10 years had passed since the introduction of the Galactic Terraforming Initiative. Dozens of once barren planets now teemed with life, home to thriving colonies of various species. The United Galaxy, with Earth and New Zilf at its heart, had entered an unprecedented era of peace and prosperity. But as the old saying goes, the night is darkest just before the dawn. On a warm evening in New Zilf, Gax sat in his office, poring over reports. His antennae twitched with concern as he read. Suddenly, the door burst open. Zira rushed in, her eyes wide with alarm. "Gax, the long-range telepathic network. It's picking up something. Something big." Before Gax could respond, alarms blared across the city. Admiral Chen's voice came over the emergency broadcast system. "This is not a drill. All citizens, please proceed to the nearest shelter. We are under attack." In orbit above Earth, a massive portal had opened. Through it poured ships unlike any the United Galaxy had ever seen. They were organic, almost alive, pulsing with an eerie, otherworldly energy. As panic spread, the Cosmic Bridge, now the flagship of the United Galactic Fleet, prepared for battle. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge, her face grim but determined. "Status report," she barked. "The enemy fleet outnumbers us 10 to 1. A Zilfian officer reported. "Their technology. It's beyond anything we've ever encountered." Chen's jaw set. "Send out the call. We need every ship we've got." As the battle raged in space, Gax and Zira coordinated the planet's defenses. In the heart of New Zilf, they gathered with other telepathic species in a specially designed chamber. "We may not be warriors," Gax said to the assembled group. But our minds are our strength. Together, we can turn the tide. As one, they reached out with their thoughts, connecting with the defenders in space. Through their telepathic link, ship captains could coordinate instantly, reacting to the enemy's movements with unprecedented speed and precision. But it wasn't enough. The alien invaders, whom they now knew called themselves the Void Collective, seemed to anticipate their every move. Slowly but surely, they pushed towards Earth. In the thick of the battle, aboard the cosmic bridge, Admiral Chen had an epiphany. They're using some kind of hive mind, she realized. That's how they're predicting our moves. Back on Earth, Gax received Chen's insight through the telepathic network. An idea formed in his mind, dangerous but potentially game-changing. We need to link everyone, he said to Zira. Not just our forces, but every mind in the galaxy willing to join. We need to create a telepathic network larger than anything we've ever attempted. Zira's eyes widened. But the strain, it could burn out countless minds. Gax nodded solemnly. I know, but it's our only chance. The call went out. Across the galaxy, on every terraformed planet, in every space station and ship, beings of all species heard the plea. And they answered. Millions of minds joined the network, then billions. The strain was immense. Many collapsed, their minds overloaded, but still more joined. In space, the United Fleet began to move as one. Every ship, every weapon, guided by the collective will of an entire galaxy. The Void Collective faltered, overwhelmed by the sudden change. Their hive mind, impressive as it was, paled in comparison to the vast network of diverse minds now arrayed against them. With a thought, the United Fleet struck. Weapons fire converged on critical points of the enemy ships, guided by the strategic minds of 1,000 different species working in perfect harmony. The battle was fierce, but short. Unable to adapt to the galaxy's unprecedented unity, the Void Collective retreated, their portal collapsing behind them. As the dust settled, a galaxy celebrated, but the victory had come at a cost. Many minds had burned out in the effort, Zilphian and otherwise. In the aftermath, Gax stood before the United Galactic Council once more. His body was tired, his mind strained, but his eyes shone with hope. We faced our greatest threat, he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the galaxy through the now permanent telepathic network. And we prevailed not through strength of arms, but through the power of unity. Every mind, every species, playing its part. He smiled, looking out at the assembled representatives. The galaxy once cast us aside, believing us weak. But true strength lies not in the individual, but in our connections to one another. Together, we are stronger than any force in the universe. As cheers erupted across the galaxy, Gax felt a sense of completion. The Zilphians had found not just a haven, but a family. And together with humanity and all other species, they had forged a future brighter than any could have imagined. The galaxy that had once rejected them now stood united, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might bring. For in diversity, they had found their greatest strength.